Today, we will be covering a pound for pound battle between the notorious Rob Lucci and Captain Straw Hat Luffy. CP9's head agent, Lucci, is a bad man. He's got the resume, and the way his victim spoke of him was terror-inducing. Lucci was your definition of a smooth criminal, disposing of his opponents with ease, and back at Water 7, Lucci packed Luffy up no problem. This isn't the same Luffy though, as he has a clear goal after hearing Robin say the words, "I want to live." All clouded judgment is gone and a clear objective is in sight. Luffy has a new bag, and it's finally time to test it out against the head honcho. Let's get this fight started. Luffy goes in with a spin to throw Lucci off and goes for a left high kick up top. Lucci sees it coming and goes for the high guard. Luffy comes down and immediately goes for a straight, in which they both clash, resulting in impact, both flying back as a result. Lucci is on his knees but gets up with a smirk on his face. This isn't the smile you think it is. I call this the temperature check, because they both now have a sense of the battle, knowing that this fight won't be some light work. They're different from the last time. The fight continues. Luffy runs in and goes for the shoulder throw, launching Lucci away from the door and runs? Yup, that's completely understandable. Technically, this wasn't some battle meant to be won by putting one another down. A win for Luffy here would have just been getting past that door, but that's impossible to do against the top dog, as Lucci shaves and fly kicks him into the wall. If Luffy wants to win, putting down Lucci is a must. Luffy uses the dust residue as a tool to throw Lucci off again, and with the box flying right at him, Lucci thought the box itself was the diversion, trying to be nonchalant with it, but Luffy surprises him with the Gatling. Lucci dodges it with ease and they start clashing. The straight gets shin checked, Luffy's left gets blocked. Lucci counters with the front kick and Luffy is starting to get moved back, having to full block. But he's still on his toes. They pivot around each other, shifting positions, but they look pretty evenly matched, giving Lucci the slight edge here. Luffy tries to go for the reverse kick, but Lucci is on top of it, starting to flex a little, showing the dexterity. The first section of the battle finally ends, and man, Lucci still showed that he has this fight under control. He maintained his composure even with all the surprises Luffy threw at him, and he looks warmed up now. Luffy, on the other hand, he's scathed, and while he's still standing, Lucci has good durability and is more battle tested than the Rook. Luffy won't stay put though. He charges back in with his Gum Gum Bazooka, and Lucci checks it with his leg. I know y'all see that impact. How did his leg not snap in half? That's terrible. We don't see how, but Luffy gets slammed into some boxes, but he won't stand for it. He rubber band lunges himself at Lucci with a barrage. But I'm starting to think Luffy's form here is getting sloppy. He throws randomly and Lucci is smiling as it doesn't even graze him. They clash again, but Luffy leaves himself open and Lucci gives the front kick of doom. Luffy lunges back immediately. At this point, he's moving like a yo-yo, because if you send Luffy down, he's coming right back. Luffy goes in for another barrage and Lucci catches all the hits. Luffy is becoming too predictable though and trying to wear him down, but he needs to switch it up. Luffy does just that, going for a bite, and it grazes Lucci. My fault, Luffy, I wasn't familiar with your game. Lucci gets a bit irritated and slams him into next week though. But it doesn't matter. Luffy is back up running after him, going for a flurry up top, followed by the tornado kick. Lucci ducks and counters with a tornado of his own. This is beautiful execution right here. Luffy almost loses sight of battle as he thought it was his way out. But the more the battle goes on, the more personal it gets. Lucci gut punches Luffy across the room, and once again, Luffy shows he ain't dropping. Lucci is trying to set the precedent that he won't let Luffy go by him. Luffy responds not with words but with the right hand. Lucci clashes again with his leg and switches the pivot, decking him in the chin. He gets knocked back but jolts back with a Gatling. I'm telling y'all, he just doesn't give up, but he's got to switch up the method. Lucci has his hands in his pockets now because it's just too easy. Lucci grabs his arms and swings him at the wall. Time is an element that has been a factor in this whole fight. Although Luffy seems like he can keep getting up endless amounts of time, the motive, the reason, and the purpose for why he keeps at it is dwindling by the second. The clock is ticking and Luffy knows it. Robin is in danger. Luffy makes it known to Lucci and he goes for the Gatling. But watch. He snaps himself back in air, going for the stamp and whip combo. Lucci dodges, but look at the air time. Luffy holds himself and spears his body at Lucci. It was great technique, but Lucci is adapting quickly as he dodges and gets a full impact hit on Luffy. But y'all see how fast he zips back up? Does Straw Hat feel no pain? The dynamic of this fight truly takes a turn as the focus shifts. A newcomer steps in. Franky. And for y'all who are thinking, man, this fight wasn't even fair, he had help. Nah, peak game, just watch. Luffy makes it clear he wants Franky to save Robin. He'll do all the restraining. Now I will say, because he is his crewmate, a free lick here and there doesn't hurt nobody, you feel me? The fight continues, and for what feels like, I lost count at this point, Luffy uses his Gatling again. Lucci dodges it of course, but with a little more swag for some reason. They clash and Luffy goes for the pistol. Lucci saves behind and goes for the reverse roundhouse up top, but Luffy blocks it. The impact though opens him up and Luffy gets another clean blow. While Lucci is distracted by Franky, Luffy flies in and clashes with his head. Luffy throws Franky a lob, holding Lucci in place, as this is their best chance to get out of here. Franky's hesitance finally subsides, trying to run towards the exit. Lucci treats the room like his domain and lunges back into the ground with Luffy amplifying the damage with his moonwalk ability. He shaves in right as Franky was gonna meet his end. Luffy grabs him. Lucci starts to learn Luffy's technique, tactics, skills, but there's one thing that he still hasn't learned. How does he keep getting up? Luffy heads straight for Lucci. His swing was too wide though, and Lucci counters with the finger pistol barrage. Oh my goodness. I know y'all see the damage. Franky is still trying to get out of there, so he attempts to create an opening with his strong right, but Buddy doesn't budge. Hands folded behind his back, Lucci lets him know it ain't gonna happen. In the blink of an eye, Franky is down, and while he's getting trash talked, Luffy hits him with the pistol. Wait, is his hand red? Yup, that boy finally locks in. That steam ain't for show. Gear second is activated. Ooh, my boy not playing no more. He's putting his body on the line and he knows he's gotta be fast. Lucci also knows it's time to get serious. Leopard Man finally transformed, and the first exchange tells you all you need to know. Lucci jumps at Franky but gets denied with the roundhouse. Lucci goes for the shave and finger pistol combo. Luffy dodges with the shave and counters with the bazooka. Luffy didn't even have to double check. The impact on that hit gave Franky enough time to dip. This hit finally releases Luffy of the mind boggle of having to make sure Robin is okay. To ultimately escape Enies lobby, the leopard has to be knocked out cold. This battle has officially entered a different plane of focus and determination. The bout starts with them trading with speed and precision. They can't fully capitalize on their hits as they both have to take a breather. Lucci tries to knock Luffy with the Yellow Lotus, but Luffy is way faster, dodging it with no problem. He gets aerial on him and dives with the stamp. They continue to go at one another, but fatigue is starting to show on both sides. Luffy can't maintain the gear transformation. The environment has also been altered, as Lucci puts Luffy's mind in a state of shock because the water leaking from Lucci's kick applies the pressure. His crew is in imminent danger, and there's not much he can do about that now, so he focuses on what he can accomplish ahead of him. Lucci thought he could break down Luffy's mind, but Luffy reassures himself so he won't be distracted. This is a true one-on-one. The chaos is underway again, with Luffy and Lucci scrapping in the pocket for a minute. Luffy parries Lucci straight, and Lucci catching his jab right back. They go at it for a few more moments, then Lucci surprises Luffy with the uppercut. Luffy slips it, but he opened himself up for a direct leopard kick to the gut. Man, I know that hurt like I'm up. He doesn't stop there though. Lucci follows up in the air with a knee and tries to end him with the pistol. Luffy is keeping up, but Lucci is seemingly attacking with a new battery. He goes for a kick, and I thought Luffy was going to take the impact here. But watch the IQ. Yes sir, Luffy is thinking. He got that boy stuck in place and uses the rifle, but he can't pierce through. That iron body technique is something else. If he did that same move in Gear 2, who knows if Lucci would have been standing right now. Nonetheless, the fact that it was ineffective is gonna cost him. Lucci has him in a chokehold, but he's underestimating how quick Luffy thinks on his feet. He stretches down and winds his body up, and he grabs Lucci. His whole body hits a tornado movement, throwing him in the air. Lucci dodges the follow-up and tries to counter with literal finger bullets. Like, come on, this man Lucci's bag is deep. And the attack has Luffy on one knee. It's working. And has him lying flat after combining the move with flames. Lucci thinks he has him here, but once again, there's still one form he hasn't seen. Gear 3 makes its debut. One of the most unorthodox forms we've seen yet, and with it, Luffy punches the daylights out of this dude. Luffy rockets himself out of the building, and Luffy's destruction level has increased exponentially. Ships are being destroyed by one attack. Lucci dodges it, however, and turns full leopard, impaling into Luffy's skin. Luffy isn't letting the damage lessen his momentum though. Luffy follows with a giant whip. Lucci starts to see the weaknesses of the form, as Gear 3 is good, but it's all power and no speed. This backfires on him as well, because the form itself has a drawback. Luffy gets slammed by Lucci, barely escapes a Tempest Kick head on. And now, my boy's little. Balloons deflate eventually, and now Luffy is in his most vulnerable state. This went from a battle to a game of hide and go seek. Lucci eventually finds him, and this is where a lot of enemies lose the plot. He started playing with his food. He uppercuts Luffy and holds him against the wall. And instead of ending him there, he takes the opportunity to talk trash. But pay attention, Luffy punches Lucci in his small form. Come on, Luffy, this is not the play. Luffy is a professional rage baiter, y'all can't even lie. With Luffy stuck, Lucci goes for the barrage. But wait, he's weak in the knees. He's got the cookout table knees. Lucci is feeling the effects and realizes his body isn't holding up the way he thought. Each fighter uses the brief pause as a breather, and the fight is showing Luffy's dedication to continue to chip away at the goal of stopping Lucci. The mere fact that he can continuously get up and lunge at him is breaking down Lucci's psyche, as he realizes if the battle continues, his demise is actually seeming like a possibility. The following sequence starts with Luffy charging with a straight. It gets knee checked, and with Luffy flying back, Lucci follows up with a Tempest Kick. Luffy runs out of the way, as getting hit by one of those is ruthless. Luffy pushes his body to the absolute limit, at risk, going Gear 2nd once again. This is the final round. Luffy jumps at Lucci with a jet pistol. Look at the knockback. Lucci uses the momentum, however, to spin back. He shaves at Luffy, but Luffy is on another level, weaving with ease. Lucci's still coming full head of steam with another blow, but Luffy absorbs the impact. Luffy sees an opening, and boom! Lucci blocks it, but the impact of the hit still hurt him. He's a juggernaut, following with a bullet and jet pistol. Luffy wants to put the fight to rest, going for the bazooka, but Lucci hits him with his best technique, the 6 King Gun. His equilibrium is all out of whack, and Lucci knocks him down. Luffy has been putting faith in his crew that they're okay, but once he receives 100% confirmation, it's enough for him to smile and take down the head enemy. The fight continues with Luffy going for a straight and throwing a couple of 1-2s. Lucci doesn't seem to be bothered, dodging an axe by Luffy as they follow up with a clash. Lucci stops clashing and begins shaving around Luffy for an opening, but Luffy notices and goes for a kick. It's dodged. In midair, Luffy leaves himself open, taking another 6 King Gun. Direct hit, and he's wobbly. Luffy falls face flat, and it looks like we have our winner. It was a good fight, but it seems like the fight is over. The last bit of motivation Luffy needed was a reminder from his dear friend. Usopp kinda kept it real here, or at least he made it clear that saving Robin was still and always was the goal. And if he isn't capable of that, then someone else will be. All the members of Straw Hat did their part of the job and are willing to put more on the plate if it results in saving her. It's a call out to Luffy, but at the same time it was a bit of stress placed on him to act if he doesn't want more death. A strategic rage bait, if you will. Luffy is pushing past his limits here. Every move from here on out is from the will that he has to win. His mind isn't quitting and seems to force his body to move first. He makes a promise to never fall again until Lucci is knocked out. Lucci jumps at Luffy with the 1-2, but Luffy clashes, being able to match it. They jump back and charge at one another for a slugfest, just throwing punches at high speeds. Lucci jolts back for a reverse kick. Luffy dodges with a backflip and barely weaves the Tempest follow-up, almost grazing him. Luffy gets creative, using the gust of the pistol as projectiles, but blood is gushing out. He fires 2 more, but he's starting to run out of fuel. Lucci has to step on him, and what happens next is the most crushing moment for the Straw Hats. Lucci closes in, wraps Luffy, and blasts him with the ultimate 6 Kingdoms. White eyes in anime is a symbolism for KO, but even as Luffy falls back here, how is he back up? Oh my goodness! Are we seeing the same thing? Unheard of. This seems to be beyond willpower. It's a goal ingrained in the soul at this point. Luffy roars in primal instinct and just maxes his body out, going for an all-out Gatling. Each punch crushed Lucci. This is the Hail Mary heave, and it gets the job done. I just got Luffy's x-rays after the fight, and I'm only seeing one thing. Luffy completed a promise issued to himself, and most importantly, completed the last obstacle standing in the Straw Hat's way. Luffy wins the battle in a KO, putting up a valiant effort. Anyways, y'all, if y'all enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and join the fam. This will be the last One Piece vid for a minute, since I gotta watch more and catch up, but more videos will be on the way. I appreciate the support, y'all, and thank y'all so much. Glory to God. Thanks for watching. God bless and peace.